So this is the starting screen and you should go to settings before you start playing. Here you can control the traffic rate. Start with a light one. The radar overlay, if you hide it, you're going to see the control tower controls that seems a little more realistic, but hides your view, hides the aircraft, and also does not give you the very two important tools, which are the runways and the traffic around the airport information that is usually displayed in two boxes in the bottom right corner of the game. So I prefer to play it with radar overlay. I do like to see the aircraft tags because they give me important information about the airplanes. Normal swipe direction, a little less than average tower height. The weather makes no difference. There is no algorithmic difference. The aircraft behave the same in rain or in sunny weather. I like to see the silly tweet comments. It does make the game more fun. And I like to keep the music low, the sounds fairly in the middle, and then the voice is high. For this purpose, I'm going to put the voices and the sounds at the same level so you can hear me. So let's play. As you can see, we have six selections. Vancouver Harbor, which is actually a seaplane airport, and this is an advanced level game. I don't recommend it if you're just starting, but it is fun and challenging. LaGuardia, which is also fairly advanced because of the way the runways are set, and there are many runways. Rocky Mountain, which I would call it an intermediate level. Fire, that also has a firefighting mission, but it is also a little challenging. Kingston, Jamaica, which is probably the easiest one, and if you're a beginner, I will recommend it because you only have one runway to worry about it. And Toronto Island, which is the most fun to play in my opinion, and the one I play most of the time. And let's start with Toronto Island. Here you see the setting of the runways. I prefer to have aircraft landing on runways 24, 26 and 23. So we will choose that, but you can choose the other if you select. The problem with this is that if two aircraft come together and they have similar speeds, they will collide at the end. This is a little harder to control than aircraft landing since you can abort a landing, but once the planes are on the runway, there is really little you can do. Let's go on continuous play right now. And we are starting always with 4 aircraft in the tarmac. And as you can see, the aircraft that are ready for some action have a red color, and if you click them either here or here, you're going to have choices. I prefer to start with taking out of runway 26, which is this first runway. And I will send all the aircraft at this moment to runway 26. We see one aircraft here, and this airplane is going to run on runway 33. Depending on the direction that the aircraft are arriving, you know which runway they go. And if you don't, simply rotate until you see the aircraft, and as you see, this says runway 33, and also it tells you it is a Boeing 757. Different aircraft have different flying characteristics, and that becomes very important as the game becomes busier. We also see another airplane here, and that airplane more than likely will be running on runway 24, but let's go and check, and sure enough, it is a Boeing 737 that is arriving on runway 24. Which means when you choose immediate takeoff rather than takeoff, the aircraft is departing the runway quicker, and that way you don't have to wait. And we're going to also immediately take off on the jet here, and this jet. And you're going to see here that the turboprop aircraft takes off quite early. So if there was another airplane coming here, we would have cleared it, and definitely we were not worried about the aircraft in the bottom. I did have a crash here because I tried too close. I pushed in too fast, and I wasn't really paying attention because I was telling you what's happening. And that raised the stress meter to yellow. We're going to try and drop it to green before this tutorial. We have an immediate takeoff. We have another aircraft arriving, but it is at a fair distance. We cannot see it in this part of the screen. So I'm confident that we're not going to have a collision happening. Let's go a little closer here to see this aircraft closer. And you're going to see that this aircraft, which is also a turboprop, is going to take off I'm sorry quicker than getting into the intersection, and definitely would have cleared any aircraft at the end of the runway, which is a good thing to know. Since this Boeing 747 landed on 24, we will need to follow it, so we'll be able to let it cross runways 8 and 15. Otherwise, it will get stuck before runway 8, and that will not make for a pleasant game experience. There are two keys that affect the status of the game, if it is green, yellow, or red. One of them is crashes, of course. The other is congestion in the airport. If you have a lot of airplanes lined up but you don't do anything with them, this will increase. As you see, because we are moving aircraft around and we don't have any congestion, our status changed to green. And because airplanes that land on this runway turn here well before they reach the end of the runway, it is safe to tell this aircraft to cross runway 15, and we don't have to think about this aircraft anymore. It will land. It will not land. It already landed. It will immediately go and park itself on the gates. Here, this aircraft is ready, and we will send it to runway 26 again. We see here several aircraft queuing to land on runway 33. So as we take aircraft off, we need to keep a check on them, because as you can see, both 26 and 24 intercept runway 33. And you can see as this aircraft arrives, it disappears from the screen, but you can see it on the runway itself. When this aircraft reaches the beginning of the runway, we are going to pay attention and see what is happening on runway 33, and then we'll decide if we are going to take off or not. The advantage of airplanes arriving on runway 33 is that once they land, if you avoid any collisions in those intersection points, you don't have to do anything about them. They turn, and because they don't have to cross any runways, they will park themselves with any other directions from you. I'm going to give the immediate takeoff direction to this aircraft, because I know I can beat this 787 that is landing on the same runway, and I will only follow this airplane, which is actually a turboprop, which means it's moving slower. Here is my airplane taking off, so I'm looking it on this screen. I want to make sure that we're not going to collide, so we might cut it close on this one. No, I think we're going to clear it. Again, if this was a jet, I wouldn't have given it the departure command, but because this is a turboprop, and I know it because of the SW4 designation, I was well cleared. You notice that this airplane have already taken off and is in climb mount before the intersection. Now you see one of the glitches of the game. This was a landing aircraft, and again I was not paying attention, and we have gone green and now we're yellow again. I wish that aircraft that you do not touch did not collide, but this again did collide. Also, the DH8C designation indicates a turboprop, and that is important to know because this aircraft moves slower and take off faster. So for this tutorial, let's make sure that we go back to green and then we land it. This Boeing 747 is ready, so we're going to send it to runway 26. And this Airbus is ready, so we're going to send it to runway 26. Now we see no aircraft at this moment coming around to land to 24 or 26, but we certainly see aircraft coming to land on 33. Now this is a Boeing 737, so we're not going to try to cut it close. We're going to decide what we're going to do. And we also see another 787 Boeing approaching to land in our departure runway. Since our landing aircraft is already on the runway, I can give the command to take off on this aircraft because this aircraft is not even on final approach yet, it's on what we call base. So after it turns you have to follow it closer, but now it hasn't turned yet, so we are safe to take off. And we're going to keep this tutorial going until we turn green again. So this aircraft is far away. Again, it has not even turned to final. So I'm not concerned about a collision here. I'm going to let this aircraft take off. And the problem with the 747s are that, as you can see, they use the whole runway. So if you had an aircraft crossing here, you would have a collision. So you need to be aware of that aspect. Now we have that aircraft arriving, and since we don't have anything else, we have an airplane coming to 24, and we know it's coming to 24 because it's coming from this location. And I did give a depart order to this aircraft. We are green again, and as soon as we finish this, we are going to end this tutorial. Again, this is a SW4, which means this is a proper aircraft. So I'm going to follow it closely and see if I have to do any commands. Again, because that was a turboprop aircraft, we did clear without having any problems. This concludes our demonstration for today, and I hope you did enjoy it. And in our next demonstration on how to play Airport Madness, I will show you even more intricacies that this game has, so you can become a better, more proficient pilot. Again, this is Pilot S77. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumb up. If you don't, use the other button. If you enjoy the channel, which is very, very new, it's only 2 days old right now, please subscribe and support the channel. Share this video and ask me any questions related to aviation in the comments. Thank you for watching.